A row has erupted over Jeremy Evil Clarkson's column in The Sun about Meghan Markle at the weekend. The Grand Tour presenter compared the Duchess of Sussex to serial killer Rose West, something that even I think is a bit of an overreaction, and that he dreams of people throwing excrement at her. I think it's sort of Game of Thrones thing, but I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I wouldn't know. Anyway, Jezza has since issued a statement, not an apology, I must emphasise, in which he said he was horrified to cause so much hurt and would be more careful in future. Well, with me to discuss this free speech debate is Tessa Dunlop, historian, broadcaster and author of the new book, Elizabeth and Philip. Tessa, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
I get the feeling that you're going to interrogate me here.
No, I was just disappointed with a tweet that I felt rather clumsily popped out, suggesting that on the one hand, yes, Jeremy Clarkson's comments were misogynist and rather unpleasant, but on the other hand, and here you abused history, you were going to defend his right to freedom of speech. It was the altar you were prepared to die on, and you reminded us with a sort of, jackboot analogy that 60 to 100 million people had died in the Second World War to protect our freedoms of speech.
Not the Second World War.
Well, in the last century.
No, the 60 to 100 million I was referring to were the corpses laid at the feet of the Marxists, who controlled and compelled speech and turned people into group thinkers.
Right.
So you missed the point of my tweet.
I missed it. Well, indeed. Well, then you must craft your tweets.
Anyway, let's leave my tweets alone, and you tell me why this is dreadful.
Well, it's extraordinary that someone like you, with such a fine public school education, is lumbering under the misconception that we have complete freedom of speech. If I was a paedophile or a terrorist or a fascist, you wouldn't be platforming me right now. If I was inciting hatred against a different race or religion or someone of transgender or disability, I would not be platformed. That would be illegal. So it's a nonsense to suggest we have to let everyone spew out filth and poison left, right and centre, especially men with disproportionately large platforms. And let me tell you, dear Loza, there's an awful lot of you. I don't find it acceptable. And I think what you did was disingenuous.
Well, I condemned the way he spoke and then defended his right to free speech.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
It was almost like saying, let's pat him on the head and put him back in his box. Except his box.
That's not what I said.
But it is what you said.
No. That's how you felt about what I said. What I actually said, was look, and you're looking at someone who really doesn't like Meghan Markle and doesn't like that spoiled.
Oh no, let's not go back to. I can't hear another thin-skinned, slightly aging white man be demeaning about Meghan Markle. Not when we've just gone global with one of our leading celebrities wanting to throw excrement at her when she's naked paraded down the street.
I completely agree with you. I think we're agreeing. So let's try and find somewhere where.
Well, no, I can tell you we're not agreeing.
I'm agreeing with you that what he said was something I would see as being well above and beyond what I think free speech is there for. But I would ask you the question: do you think that the opposite of that, denying him the right to be so crude and disgusting and misogynistic, is better?
It is currently illegal to stir up hatred against, and I gave you some of the categories, race, religion, disability, sexual orientation. I would like gender to be one of those categories.
What is gender?
There was my gender as a woman, my sex. I want it to be better protected.
Yeah, but I'm confused. What's gender? You're a woman.
I'm a woman.
Yeah.
If you are... And Jeremy Clarkson, the way he wrote that article, he was very clever. He knows you can't stir up hatred against Meghan Markle on the basis of her race. But she was posited throughout that article very much on the basis of her femininity. She had, to use Donald Trump's expression, whipped her husband, Harold Markle, into his subservient position. She'd basically brainwashed him, but he hated her more than he compared her to two other women, to Nicola Sturgeon and to the murderer, Rose West. So this was about Meghan Markle's femininity. He then asked us to imagine her naked. So he wants to take a woman and us to imagine her naked, and he then wants to shame her and parade her down the street and throw excrement at her. That is hatred towards women, and I don't think that's acceptable.
Look, I agree with you.
Yes, so let's change the law.
No.
Yes.
No, that's where I don't agree with you.
Why not change the law?
Because I don't think it's illegal to hate people.
But do you know, the problem is, What happens otherwise is big bears like you, Jeremy Clarkson, Piers Morgan.
Hang on a minute.
Because
bear?
actually, on this occasion, you've said, whoa, I wouldn't even say that. But generally, you like to poke with a stick. You go as far as you can. You push the right-wing envelope. And as I've explained, you men, Nigel Farage, Dan Wootton, have disproportionately large platforms. You get little me's on, a doctor incidentally, but nonetheless just a little woman, on, and you bear bait us for clicks. Clickety-click, clickety-click. And actually, Jeremy Clarkson will be emboldened by this,
and I want to stop it. You. I'm not even. You see, this is, I think, one of the problems that men will have. It's like I'm condemning what he said, and I'm saying that on a philosophical level, I protect everybody's right to free speech. I think it's better.
Everybody's right. You want paedophiles, fascists. You want racists. Do you really want everyone to have freedom of speech?
What's the option? What's the alternative?
At the moment, they're enshrined in law is actually to be protected against fascists and paedophiles.
So it's enshrined in law. So we just leave it. I found what he said abhorrent. I didn't find it abhorrent. I thought it was clumsy and crap. Ooh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it was dreadful, and I condemned it. And I don't see why I'm getting a lecture for supporting you.
Because you've come out on Twitter saying, you've said there, okay, with where freedom of speech is at the moment. And I'm saying, but it's not good enough. Because actually what this does is emboldens misogynists. Someone like Jeremy Clarkson now, he got his grand tour mentioned on your television. The Sun's probably not sold so many since 1990.
It's probably why he did it.
Well, exactly. And I'm saying that is not acceptable. And the way to stop it is to change the law.
Stop with the law changing.
Knock little men off their platforms like you.
Little man? I thought I was a big man. A bear, you said I was.
Because you have a big platform, darling.
All right, darling.
Will I scuttle out of your cave now and leave you in your cave?
It's not a cave. You're more than welcome to stay.
I'm quite angry. You make me angry, Laurence.
Well, I'm very sorry. I've literally said nothing.
You didn't.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Royal Sussex Squad. If you're here for truth, justice, and to celebrate Prince Harry and Meghan, you've come to the right place. And if you're one of those who thrive on negativity, well, get ready, because we're about to expose the nonsense. So let's talk about Jeremy Clarkson, the man who thinks it's okay to spew the most vile, disgusting rhetoric about Meghan Markle and somehow call it free speech. This isn't free speech. This is misogyny, hate, and an outright attack on a woman who did absolutely nothing to deserve it. But let's be honest. Are we surprised? Clarkson and his ilk have always had a problem with strong, independent women who refuse to bow to outdated traditions. This man, who thinks he's some kind of clever provocateur, compared Meghan to a convicted serial killer and fantasized about her being publicly humiliated and degraded. And let's not forget, he wrote this garbage in a national newspaper, showing just how deep the UK's toxic media culture runs. He later issued some weak, half-hearted statement, not an apology, saying he was horrified at the backlash. Yeah, he wasn't horrified when he wrote it, sent it in, and got it published, was he? And let's talk about those defending him under the banner of free speech. There's a huge difference between freedom of speech and hate speech. If Clarkson had said anything close to this about someone from a different race or religion, he would have been facing legal consequences. But because it's Meghan Markle, some people still want to pretend like it's just opinion. No, it's targeted harassment, plain and simple. We've seen this before. When Harry and Meghan dared to speak their truth, the British press and certain right-wing figures lost their minds. They attacked Meghan relentlessly, dismissed her pain, and even tried to erase her very real experiences of racism and misogyny. And now, Clarkson is just another cog in that hateful machine. But here's the real problem, the fact that men like Clarkson, Piers Morgan and their enablers continue to peddle this vile narrative without real consequences. They don't just hate Meghan, they hate what she represents. A woman of colour who defied their expectations, chose love, chose freedom and refused to be controlled. And that, to them, is unacceptable. But you know what? Meghan and Harry are winning. No matter how much hate they throw, the Sussexes continue to thrive, build their legacy, and support causes that truly matter. And that's exactly why they can't stand her, because they failed to destroy her spirit. So if you stand with Meghan, if you support truth over toxic tabloids, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. And if you want to support the channel, consider sending a super thanks to help us keep exposing these hypocrites and defending Harry and Meghan. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and stay Royal Sussex Squad.